The movie begins with Winnie being walked back home by her date. As they both stand outside her house, the man she went out with tries to kiss her. Winnie is uncomfortable by his approach and stops him by tapping on his head. Their height difference is clearly an issue for Winnie, and she does not seem attracted to him at all. The man fixes his hair awkwardly and leaves after Winnie runs inside her apartment building. Winnie uses the date as an opportunity to write about her dating experience. She frequently goes out on dates and records her impressions on the blog. The title of her new blog post is Soaring to New Heights. In the article, she writes about the average height of a man in the United States. She thinks that people have romanticized the notion that a man over 6 feet is the ideal. Height has never been a problem for Winnie, as she notes that it has always been something incidental until she went out with the man she likes to call Napoleon. He lied about his height on his profile and misled her into believing he was tall and strong. Winnie tells her roommate, Kyra, about her dating nightmare, which never seems to end. Although Winnie is annoyed by her bad luck, her friend thinks she should look at the bright side because she is getting a lot of fresh new material to work with for her blog. On the other hand, Holden is nothing like Napoleon. He is a tall, handsome, and successful man. He brings a new girl with him to his place, and her name is Brittany. As they sit cozily in his living room, his son suddenly barges in. Brittany is surprised that Holden is a father to a teenager. The young boy, Ty, does not acknowledge Brittany's presence and speaks to his father as if she is not there. Something tells Brittany that this seems to be a regular thing the son is used to. Ty finally asks her what her name is in a very condescending tone. He tells her to be serious about her choice of men since Holden is a single dad and much older than her, which means she should run away, especially when Ty asks her if she really wants to be dealing with him all the time. Ty's attitude certainly causes her much concern. Holden whispers to Ty secret threats because he is ruining his date with Brittany, but he continues to describe how much of a nightmare he will be in case she stays. Holden finally laughs awkwardly and stops his son's tirade. Brittany frustratingly gets her coat and leaves Holden's house. He tries to persuade her to stay, but Brittany does not listen and goes out without looking back. Ty pretends as if nothing happened and tells Holden that she seems nice. He asks his father what she does, and Holden tells him Brittany is a dancer. Ty remarks that what he is hearing is shocking. Holden tells his son that what is shocking is his behavior. Holden reminds Ty of the purpose of the expensive phone he got him, which is to text or call him when he is coming home early. Ty thinks it is funny to tease his father, telling him that he did not wish to disturb Holden because he thought he would be busy. Technically, he was busy, which made Ty laugh. At the coffee shop, Ty asks his father for some money for a school dance. Holden asks Ty if he finally found the courage to ask the girl he is interested in to the dance. Ty smiles, agreeing with Holden, who gives his son encouraging words. When Ty leaves the coffee shop, Winnie and Kyra head to the same place. Ty accidentally drops his money, and Winnie tries to help him. She gives him the money, and Ty is glad to be saved. Ty tells Winnie that it would have been bad if she did not find his money because school dance tickets go on sale the same day. Winnie wishes him good luck, hoping whoever he is asking to dance says yes. Ty thanks Winnie and walks away. Once inside the cafe, Winnie complains to Kyra about how her blog barely has any readers these days. Her mother is also calling her a spinster, as if she is some kind of Victorian recluse. Holden looks at the two friends, overhearing their conversation. Kyra laughs, thinking her friend is like a poisonous spider trying to trap a man in a web. Kyra also finds her latest post about some gym guy very amusing. Holden takes his coffee and deliberately stares at Winnie for far too long before he walks out of the cafe. Kyra instantly notices that and thinks Holden is very attractive, but Winnie teases her friend for drooling for the man. Winnie and Kyra work at Mush. As soon as they get to the office, their boss Inga calls for a staff meeting. They call her a demon and a nightmare to work with. Inga is a demanding and firm employer who does not take no for an answer. As Inga distributes new projects, she gives Winnie's to another writer and suggests a more manageable topic for her, which she thinks is a silly idea. Instead of writing about spring flings, she was assigned to work on facial oils. Winnie visits Inga's office, hoping to speak to her about her column. Inga cuts to the chase and tells Winnie she is not relatable, and that everything she writes is so boring. Inga thinks there is nothing personal or interesting about Winnie's work. Winnie tells Inga that she has a blog called Luckless where she writes anonymously about dating. Inga is not impressed with that, but Winnie tries to show her how relatable she is anyway. Inga reminds Winnie that their readers ask for aspirational content, not sad stories about her little dates. Winnie's tactic not only failed, she brought more trouble upon herself, revealing that she is not solely focusing on her job and is running a blog on the side. Holden is a sports agent. He goes to his boss, Rhett, proposing that he signs the golden boy, Dirk Perkins. Rhett hears that Dirk is a petulant little zit, but Holden thinks the boy can make them a lot of money. Rhett tells Holden that if he wants to take over his company, he needs to do much more than sign Dirk. They both go out to eat to discuss business. Rhett thinks Holden should sit out the Insiders Gala this year. Holden laughs, thinking Rhett is joking with him when in fact, he is very serious. Holden thinks it is ridiculous that he, as a representative of the agency, will not be invited. Rhett tells him that he ruins the gala every year and reminds him of how he ran off the year before with the Victoria's Secret model who was not even his date. Holden does not see any problem with what he did, but Red asks when he is going to stop acting like a kid. Red advises Holden to start dating women seriously for Ty's sake. Holden becomes defensive and tells Red that he and Ty are doing just fine. Holden is not interested in flirting with women at the gala. He got his eyes on Dirk. Holden is ready to do whatever it takes to be invited to the gala, so Red has a proposition for him. If Holden finds a decent girl and starts dating her seriously, Red will let him back in. Red expects to see Holden fully committed to the girl of his choice and hopes he even falls in love with her. He tells Holden that only he will decide if he and his new girl have formed a real connection. But if he fails, Holden can kiss the gala goodbye. Before Rhett leaves the restaurant, he tells Holden to go for someone he does not usually go for. Winnie started experimenting with facial oils before she wrote her article. She complains to Kyra about the peppermint oil she tried, crying that it does not belong anywhere near the eyes. Winnie can't seem to forget Nga's comments on her writing style, so Kyra tells her that she should focus on her own projects because they matter more. Kyra suddenly gets a brilliant idea. She thinks Winnie should write something for Mush on Luckless because Kyra finds her dating life entertaining. Kyra tells Winnie that the answer is finding the perfect Mush guy. Winnie is excited by her friend's idea. She should find a guy who Nga finds aspirational, the kind of guy every girl dated at one point. Kyra thinks this man would be a commitment-phobic man-child, and Winnie agrees, setting out to find the perfect man for the role. Holden shares Rhett's proposition with Ty. Ty thinks his father should accept the challenge. He should find someone Rhett will like, and after the gala is over, Holden's life can go back to normal. Ty does not mind the strange arrangement, proving to Holden that he is much more mature than he looks. Ty helps his father pick a girl, but when he chooses the wrong type, Holden decides to do it himself. He finds Winnie's profile randomly, thinking she is the serious type Rhett is talking about. At the same time, Winnie and Kyra are looking at Holden's profile. Kyra recognizes him as the hot guy from the coffee shop. Holden messages Winnie and asks if she is doing anything later. Winnie excitedly gets ready and finally meets Holden. She walks by him at first, but then Holden calls for her and introduces himself. He tells her that he saw her a few days ago in the coffee shop, and he finds that funny. Holden takes her to a place where live music is played. He informs her that it is jazz night and that he is not very keen on the music genre. On the other hand, Winnie is happy about that. She tells Holden that she used to sing in a jazz club in college. Holden is very different from her, as he is terrified of singing, and although Winnie thinks there is hope for everyone to sing no matter how ugly their voice might be, Holden stubbornly thinks teaching him to sing is like teaching a dog how to walk on its hind legs. Holden and Winnie awkwardly enter the restaurant. They both speak about their jobs and aspirations. Holden does not take long before he proves to Winnie that he is arrogant, as he starts boasting about his connections. Winnie finds his attitude unimpressive. At that moment, Brittany makes a second appearance. She does not look very pleased when Holden calls her by another name, Christy. It is not the right for Brittany to show up, and Holden tells her exactly that. Brittany tells him that she hoped he would have told her, and before she explains what it is that bothered her, Holden stops her. Winnie wants to know and asks Brittany what he kept from her. Trying to save the situation, Holden tells Winnie that Brittany is not important, so she pours her drink all over his face and leaves. Holden wipes his face and tells Winnie that he and Brittany went on one date only. Winnie stands up when he refuses to tell her the truth, but he follows her. Winnie believes there must be a good reason why Brittany was so furious. Winnie tells Holden that he is a walking cliché, so he calls women like her exhausting. As they are still arguing, a woman passes by Holden, and he easily gets distracted by her beauty. Winnie thinks he should pursue the stranger as well because that is all he seems to do. Holden screams at her, calling her a giant-eyed stuck-up jazz lady. Winnie does not know how to offend him, so she calls him Lothario. Holden laughs at the old-timey insult he does not even understand. Holden and Winnie take different paths at the end of the date. Winnie calls Holden Satan. Kyra thinks that is why he is so hot and wishes happy writing to Miss Luckless, who seems to have found fresh inspiration for her blog. Her new title is The Player. Winnie writes a very personal piece with plenty of details about Holden. At the office, Kyra acts very suspiciously around Winnie. Kyra tells her that Nga wants to speak to her alone. Winnie freaks out. She suspects that Nga saw her blog post, but Kyra says it is unlikely since no one reads Winnie's blog, except for her and a few creepy dudes. Winnie tries to be brave and faces Nga. The boss brings up Winnie's newest post, and from the other side of the office, Kyra screams that Winnie has gone viral. Nga is surprised by Winnie's writing. She describes it as witty and on trend, which is unlike her. Nga loves it. She thinks it is brave and controversial. Winnie thought she was getting fired, but Nga tells her that she is thinking about turning Winnie's blog into a column on Mush. Winnie is happy at first and shares her ideas with Nga, but the latter tells her that she is interested in the player character and thinks that Winnie should keep dating him. Although Winnie wants nothing to do with Holden, Nga tells her that she is doubling her pay and promoting her to regular columnist. Winnie gives one condition to Nga: she wants to keep her anonymity, and that of Holden, and Nga respects that. Winnie meets with her mother. She does not like seeing her daughter struggle and urges her to use her trust fund. Surprisingly, Winnie's family is rich, but she wants to make her own money. Her mother does not understand how she is able to throw everything away and starve herself when she can live a comfortable life. Winnie messages Holden. He calls her a devil and hesitates to answer. Rhett tells Holden that he is so used to women falling all over him, and that is why he is struggling to make it work with Winnie. She is not like the other women who are charmed by his overconfidence, his London accent, and his annoyingly good hairline. With a little encouragement from Rhett, he gives her another chance. Holden asks Ty if he asked his classmate out, and learns that he still has not. Holden tells Ty that women are easy, he should just tell the girl that he likes her. Ty refuses to take advice from a guy who got a drink thrown at him less than 24 hours ago, and is now going on a second date with a girl he hates because his boss told him to. Holden's dating life is definitely a mess. Winnie decides to make Inga happy by planning something interesting for Holden. First, he apologizes, and Winnie accepts his apology. She takes him to a jazz bar and welcomes Holden to the stage to sing. Holden is taken aback by that and tells her that his singing sounds like two cats fighting in an alleyway. Holden ends up singing, confusing the audience, who expected him to be good. Holden starts improvising since he does not know the lyrics. He closes his eyes, thinking he is doing great, but Winnie tells him to stop his act. He does not see her and keeps singing. She turns off the music, putting an end to his crazy singing. Holden is embarrassed and traumatized. He and Winnie have some drinks and start chatting. Winnie tells him about her work as a volunteer at a community center, where she mentors children. He smiles, realizing she is good with kids. Winnie still asks why Brittany was so mad at him. Holden tells Winnie that Brittany thought he misled her about a part of his life he is not yet ready to share with Winnie. He thinks they should take things slow and Winnie respects his wish. Holden walks Winnie to her place and expects that she invites him inside. Winnie sets boundaries quickly and shakes his hand, wishing him a good night. Winnie does not know if she can keep dating Holden and tells Kyra that he is awful. Winnie uses the date again to write a new post, and it gets over 500,000 views. On her way to do some volunteering work, Winnie passes by Ty. She sees how he is struggling to gain a particular girl's attention. Winnie comes up to her and says that the boy standing in the distance might have a crush on her, and asks her to see if he is interested in joining them. Winnie tells Ty that she runs the after-school activities and asks if he is free to play basketball with them. Ty agrees to that. Winnie tells him that it is clear that he fancies Jada, so she thinks he should just ask her out because it is not that hard. Ty doubts that Jada likes him back because she is out of his league, but Winnie confirms that Jada has spoken about him on several occasions. Winnie encourages Ty to put himself out there, and he smiles, thanking her for supporting him. Holden brings Dirk to Rhett's office, but their meeting does not go well. Rhett thinks poorly of players like him and says that Dirk is not going to last because he is not taking himself seriously. While Rhett focuses on quality and dedication, Holden's mind is set on money and fame. Rhett thinks Holden should reevaluate his priorities if he wants to run his company. Winnie invites Holden to a painting date. Holden surprisingly enjoys the therapeutic effect of painting, and although he is not very good at it, the two have fun. Winnie tells Holden that she is planning to provide art supplies to kids at her center using her trust fund. Holden does not believe Winnie's goodness and thinks that most beautiful women like her are not as giving. His compliment makes her feel shy and intimidated. He tells her that the center reminds him of his childhood. He was the one being volunteered for. He shares with her a part of himself she did not expect. Holden returns home with the bad painting. He tells Ty that he had a nice time with the woman he is seeing. Ty wonders if he will ever meet her and is curious to know something about her. Holden is not yet ready to bring her home, but he describes her as generous, kind, and surprising. Holden tells Ty that he is taking his time because he wants to make sure that if and when his son meets her, she is going to be someone permanent for both of them. Holden and Winnie's next date is a scavenger hunt. Before Holden leaves his house, Ty pours something into his drink just to embarrass him. When Holden smiles at Winnie, his teeth are stained in red dye. Winnie tries to hide her smile and asks if he ate some candy. He asks her about the reason behind her question, but she does not answer and laughs on her own. But that is not the only joke Ty pulls on Holden. When Holden searches for directions to Harold Washington Library, his phone's virtual assistant shows him directions to a previous search, which is Hair Restore Hair Plug Doctors. Holden tells Winnie he does not know what that is about and that it must be some sort of bug. Holden and Winnie's scavenger hunt turned into a slow walking tour of the city. They reach a house where Holden used to ditch the doorbell ditch. Winnie dares him to do it again. Holden agrees if she joins him. When she refuses, he starts making the sounds of a chicken. Not wanting to be a chicken, Winnie follows Holden as he rings the doorbell. He annoys her by holding her still by the door so the owners of the house find her first. They both run and laugh when a woman comes out of the house. Winnie's adventures with Holden are successful online. Holden tries to do something different and gives his card to a young player he thinks has great potential. His name is Jason Byatt. Holden has been watching his progress but did not think about approaching him before because he was solely focused on signing Dirk. Winnie and Holden meet again. He asks her why she is still single. Winnie tells him that her dates are usually disasters. As Winnie was eating a cupcake, some of the icing was caught on her hair. Holden finds it funny and tries to take it off. Winnie stares at him, expecting something to happen. Holden leans forward and tries to kiss her, but her phone rings. He tells her not to answer it, but she does anyway. Winnie tells Holden that she needs to post something on her blog because she has a deadline to meet. Holden is frustrated by that and tells her that she should be a novelist instead of wasting time working for her awful boss. Winnie reveals to Kyra that she and Holden almost kissed. She is afraid she likes him too much and wonders how she will be able to write a breakup post at the end of their relationship, which Nga is expecting from her. Kyra tells Winnie to stop holding back the truth. She should share it with him because if he likes her back, he will understand. While Ty hides suspicious lingerie behind the pillows, Holden takes away all pictures of Ty in case Winnie shows up. Ty is still adamant about sabotaging Holden's dating life. This time, Holden takes her to a baseball field and teaches her how to play. She agrees to do that only because she has made Holden through much torture, and she deserves a little herself. After the game, Holden takes her to his house, where they sit close and have a long conversation. Holden thinks Winnie should be free to write whatever she wants because she has the trust fund, which is a safety net that not a lot of people have. Winnie does not want to be perceived as privileged. She wants to be recognized as talented. Holden calls Winnie a wonderful enigma and kisses her. At that moment, Winnie was holding a pizza in hand, and once they kissed, he pushed it onto her shirt. Holden did not imagine that their first kiss would be so awkward or messy. Holden gives her his shirt so she can change into it. He is happy that she enjoys old movies as well. He holds Winnie as they watch the movie and speaks to her, thinking she is awake, when in fact she is dead asleep. Holden watches her sleeping body and covers her with a blanket. The next morning, she discovers the lingerie under the pillow and decides to leave the house in a hurry. At that moment, Ty enters the house to find Winnie. They are both surprised to see each other, and Holden is just as shocked, not expecting Ty to come back so early. They are both angry at Holden. Winnie is mad he kept his son a secret, and Ty is furious now that he knows the identity of Holden's girlfriend. Winnie points at the lingerie, but Holden does not know how to explain why it is there. Holden is left alone in the kitchen as both Winnie and Ty leave angrily. At work, Nga thinks they should turn Winnie's blog into a book. Winnie is confused because she does not see the reason why people would buy a book of posts they read online. Nga already spoke to a publisher and a bunch of newspapers. It turns out the Times wants to do a feature on Winnie. She does not take the news well and asks Nga about her anonymity, which she promised her. Winnie tells Nga that things are much more complicated than they used to be because Holden has a son, who happens to be one of the kids she mentors. Nga stands up and concludes that Winnie must have feelings for Holden if she is backing away from releasing a book. Winnie does not answer her, but she promises to write just as well if she sees new people because she wants nothing to do with the player. Ty feels bad about what he did and comes clean to Holden. Ty is nervous about seeing his dad with someone else because it has always been just him and Holden. He thinks Winnie is really cool and tells Holden to try and win her back. Holden takes his newest recruit to the office, and he impresses Rhett because he is different from Dirk. Jason is humble and talented. Holden tells Rhett that Winnie is ghosting him. Rhett tells him he should think big if he wants Winnie to welcome him back into her life again. Outside Winnie's apartment building, Holden recreates the famous John Cusack pose with the boombox in the movie Say Anything, but puts a twist on it by singing out loud. To stop him, she agrees to meet him downstairs. Otherwise, her neighbors would be furious at her. Holden tells Winnie that he is an idiot for ruining their relationship. Holden wants her to be happy and is ready to support her every step of the way. Also, Ty happens to like her very much, and that brings a smile to Winnie's face. Holden invites her to a dinner organized by his boss and tells her to keep SETI open. Winnie finds Holden charming and is indeed happy. She goes back to her desk and writes a new post entitled The Return of the Player. The next day, Winnie gets ready for a surprise meeting with the Times. Although she is not ready, Nga tells Winnie she moved the Times shoot to clear time for her book launch the following week. Winnie makes it to the restaurant a little late. Ty asks Winnie if she has stopped ghosting his dad because he was stalking her on social media nonstop. Holden is shocked by what Ty is saying about him and drags him inside the restaurant. Rhett finally meets Winnie, and they are off to a great start. Rhett likes her, so he gives Holden an invitation to the gala. Holden tells Winnie about it and asks her to go with him. Ty screams at them to kiss already and leaves them alone. Holden and Winnie finally kiss, without any trouble. Nga is mad that Winnie has not written her last post, which is the part where she and the player break up. She threatens Winnie in case she does not deliver it. Holden takes Winnie to the gala. Holden seems super happy, while Winnie is nervous about telling him the truth. She drinks first and then explains that the blog she is writing is very personal. As she elaborates, Dirk shows up. Winnie heads to the restroom, leaving the boys alone. A woman comes up to them. She and Dirk start talking about Luckless. Dirk explains what the blog is about, and Holden is surprised to hear the familiar incidents the blogger wrote about. As Dirk and the woman laugh at Holden, Winnie comes back inside the party and hears Rhett speaking about her and Holden's relationship. Rhett thought Holden was faking it with Winnie just to get into the parties so he could sign Dirk, but it is all different now. Rhett sees that Winnie is now aware of what happened. She walks up to Holden, and the two confront each other in front of everyone. They both think the other used them for their own end. Winnie screams that she is luckless and that Holden is the player. Then, she holds up a glass to pour it all over Holden, but he dodges it, and it hits a woman behind him. Winnie goes back to cry in the arms of Kyra. Holden apologizes for ruining another event for Rhett. On Winnie's book release day, she receives a call from Inga. She tells her that she got her a spot on Wake Up America. Winnie can't believe this and is excited to appear on the show. Holden gives up on signing Dirk, so he decides to give the underrated pitcher a shot. Ty buys a copy of Winnie's book and watches her interview on TV. Although Inga is excited about using this opportunity to release more books like the one Winnie is promoting, Winnie surprises her by informing the host that she is planning to write fiction next because she is choosing to write what she cares about. Winnie mentions that she lost something dear to her because she did not follow her heart. Ty screams from the living room so his dad can hear what Winnie is saying. Holden listens to her confession, where she describes what she felt for the player as love. Winnie regrets what she did, so she completes the interview with a grand gesture. Winnie starts singing the same song Holden sang in the jazz bar. Her voice is as awful as Holden, and it makes everyone laugh, including herself. Ty tells Holden that he should get Winnie because they both love each other. Inga tells Winnie that she should have listened to her and is ready to help Winnie publish her next book. But Winnie tells her she is going to take some time away from Mush. Winnie quits her job and hugs Inga. Holden finally finds Winnie. He and Ty ran all the way to her office. Holden tells her that he read her column and it was not all bad. Holden kisses Winnie passionately and confesses his love for her. Holden, Winnie, and Ty walk ahead to start a new chapter together.